Hey everyone, Marie Haynes here. Here's a quick summary of what happened that's important in search last week, covered in episode number 296 of Search News you can use. Google appears to be testing a new search feature that'll surface relevant articles from sites that you follow, websites that you follow, or perhaps sites that Google thinks that you might find interesting. The ability to follow a website, it's not new, but what is new is that people are seeing this option in the search results. Lily Ray saw this pinned to the top of her desktop search. This means that building a loyal audience and following and being known for the topics that you cover is going to become even more important soon. Kushal Barwani noticed this interesting comparison carousel in the search results. Google has published new information on phasing out third-party cookies that looks really, really important. We also discussed a bunch on page experience. Page experience encompasses not only things like core web vitals, but also a number of other factors that are considered in deciding whether your content's likely to be useful and helpful to people. In my opinion, these 2 bullet points from Google are very, very incredibly important. How easily can visitors navigate to or locate the main content of your pages? And secondly, is the page designed so that visitors can easily distinguish the main content from other content on your page? You want your pages to be really easy for users to find the thing that they came to your pages for. And I think that Google is going to be rewarding this even more and more. It's what I've seen when I do site reviews and I compare content that is ranking well against that which often has suffered. Often when the differentiating factor is that the content that answers the user's question is just easier to find. John Mueller from Google tweeted a cryptic message this week that seemed to be targeted at niche site owners who've been sharing about how much money they're making. Personally, I love seeing these stories. I love hearing about your successes. But then again, I feel like the changes that Google's making to reward helpful content might have a big impact on many niche sites. One of Google's criteria for creating helpful content is whether you have an existing or intended audience for your content. Now, intended audience is kind of vague, as we all have some type of audience that we're intending to reach. But I'll tell you that as I'm doing site reviews, I'm seeing over and over again cases where Google is elevating content that comes from people who are not just good at writing on a topic, but also actually bring original and insightful information to the body that already exists online. And that often comes from having an existing audience, often from a business that is creating content for the audience that they already serve. Many times I'm seeing sites being outranked by actual businesses with real life customers. A few more interesting things in SEO. Screaming Frog released an update that looks incredibly helpful. Search Off the Record discussed a bunch of questions about top-level domains. For example, Google was asked, should you get all variants of a TLD? And they said probably no. Should you publish a coming soon page before you're ready to actually put all of your content on the web? And the answer again was no. There is wild SERP turbulence, meaning that the changes in rankings that we're seeing are beyond what's normal. This might actually just be what the norm is now. Check out this graphic from Al Guru from Dejan SEO. The red indicates lots of turbulence, lots of changes in Google's search results. I think this might just be the norm now as Google's machine learned systems, their AI systems, continue to learn which content it is that's the most relevant and helpful to people. We're going to be seeing a lot of changes in the search results. Can you manipulate EEAT with fake authors? I don't recommend it, but for now, some people are getting away with it. I shared a bunch in newsletter about one case that somebody uncovered. I expect that the upcoming update to the helpful content system that further rewards real experience will have an impact on sites trying to fool Google in this way. In AI news that impacts the search world, Google, Microsoft, and Meta all met with the US government this week, and they agreed to measures like increased testing, research into societal impacts of AI, and a whole bunch more. It's not super clear how these things are going to be implemented or enforced, but we're on the right path to talking about how AI is going to be changing, is already changing the online landscape. Some cool uses of Bard. Amar Reshi uploaded a screenshot of a timer app to Bard, and Bard gave him the code to recreate it. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty easy for him to make some changes so that it worked completely functioning, completely well. Alvaro Cintas, he sketched out a web page on a napkin and did, kind of the same thing. Asked Bard, hey, can you take this sketch and turn it into a website? Now, clearly this isn't a world-class website that you would publish, but it's a pretty neat start for something that you could create just from a sketch on a napkin. ChatGPT now allows for custom instructions, like things that it should keep in mind every single time that you do a prompt. This is really exciting. ChatGPT also increased the cap for messages for Plus users from 25 messages to now 50 messages, which is really good. I have found this so helpful. There's a bunch more in newsletter, including the exciting bits from Demis Hassabis' interview with the New York Times this week, which is really, really exciting, and also some excellent articles that have been written by the SEO community this week. If you are a paid subscriber to newsletter, there's a whole bunch in this week's episode, including some case studies that show that there can be significant benefit to working on core web vitals. New documentation from Google that discusses how to build trust with your customers, ways that people are using ChatGPT, especially Code Interpreter for SEO, and a whole bunch more. I hope you found this little summary useful, and I wish you the best of luck with your rankings.